All right, we're back at the shed, and some people might have noticed this car appearing on the channel. Recently bought this car primarily to take off-road on a trip we were going on, and it did pretty well. And the car survived like really nicely. But after coming home, a couple of days after coming home, it started to develop a slight issue. See that puddle on the ground of oil? That's coming from up there. The origin of that, you can see that drip there. The origin of this is the engine rear main seal. This car has been sitting here for 12 minutes and dropped that much oil. So this is obviously a problem. So today we're going to change this rear main seal, which is a pretty big deal. The rear main seal is this guy. So this is genuine Honda part, and the part number is 91214 PLE003. This is a Japan-made seal for Honda. It's a genuine part. Was about $60 Australian, so metric dollars. So to get to this seal, it's in the back of the engine and it goes around the crankshaft. So to get there, we have to basically pull the flywheel off the car. So to get to that, we have to pull the wheels off, the axles out, and then the transmission. Then we have to pull the clutch off. Then we have to remove the flywheel. And then we get to replace the seal, which takes all of 10 minutes. So there's a whole load of cascading operations which has to happen before we can even get to this seal. So I'm just going to talk you guys through it, whether you've changed any rear main seal before or you're looking at changing a rear main seal on your CR-V or Honda B series motor. These are the steps you're going to want to take to sort this guy out. So the first step that you need to do, because we're going to deal with electric components, we need to disconnect the battery. Now you always want to disconnect the battery negative first. As you can see, there's still sand here from the last adventure I went on, in which the car did pretty well. So we're going to need to remove the airbox as well. So I'll just start removing components and you guys can watch over the shoulder, hey? So here's our offending seal. See where the oil is leaking past and it's been flung up around here. That's no good at all. It's not what we want. So this may be the original seal. For some reason there's a load of like metal dust in here. I don't really know what's going on. And it was inside the clutch as well. So this is a clutch that came out and there's all a load of sort of metal dust and like sort of mud. That's not from me. I haven't been anywhere where there's grey mud. It was kind of, yeah, it's odd sort of stuff. Anyway, the clutch is not that old anyway. You can still see there's marks on it here. So this has come down to clutch adjustment. When I first got the car, the clutch was slipping and the pedal was right at the top and I had to adjust it. And you can see this flywheel is very, very new. It's never been machined. And yet, see, it's all shiny. And there was this bunch of grey gunk inside it. It's way more than I would have put in there from my little adventure. So what we're going to do is remove the seal, and to remove the seal we can use two different tools. One is the pigtail guy here, and the other is the flat screwdriver. Now I'm aware that not everyone will have one of these pigtail tools, so let's try with the screwdriver. What you want to do is get in behind the seal and pry it out. See, this one's been here for a long time. And there we go. That's it. That's as easy as it was. And see the seal is like fairly hard. You can see where it's all black from the age it is and the lack of oil changes. This is why it's important to change your oil, people. So we'll go ahead and sort of clean this off a little bit and then bang the new one in. So we've got our new seal here, and if you look closely you can see there's a bit of lubrication on the inside. It's quite nice. That's the sort of thing you'll get from OEM seals. So the best way that works for me is to slide the seal onto the crank a little bit and get it seated. So now it's still pushing out a little bit. And then what I do is get a socket and gently tap it so that it goes in, and then you have to redo it all over again. Top tips, hey? What you want to avoid is that just happened, is the seal rolling over. Now, I know there are seal seating devices, but I find this method works pretty good for me. What the socket does is overlap the seal to the seal edge and will stop the seal going further into the housing. So the seal can never go too far, really. And we use a soft hammer so that we don't necessarily damage this seal housing. And then just move around. And then there we go, correctly fitted seal. It's nice and flush up against the housing, and it's correctly placed on the crankshaft. Now all we have to do is put it all back together. Okay, So now that's all complete, we want to go inside the car to adjust the clutch pedal. So if we have a look down here, we can see the clutch pedal itself and the arm going all the way up. And if we look up here, we can see the master cylinder with an adjustable rod, and there's a clevis there which goes to the clutch arm. Now if we come out and we look up top, we see a bolt with a jam nut on it. Now this stops the pedal from pulling all the way up, and if this isn't adjusted correctly, it can cause the pedal to have pressure on the clutch. So we want a bit of free play, and as you can see now, after our new clutch, we don't have it. So we get our trusty 14mm spanner, loosen the jam nut, just like this, and then wind the bolt back off. And what you can see here is the arm coming up, changing position as the bolt is being wound back. So we wind the bolt out until it's free, and then wind it in a little bit just so it's got a bit of pressure on the clutch pedal itself. And now we have some free play. So if we don't have free play in our clutch assembly, our throwout bearing will be constantly pushing on our pressure plate, and that can partially disengage the clutch. And when a clutch is halfway being disengaged, cause it to wear out prematurely, which brought us right to here.
Hey. Let's get ready. Oh, Jesus! Oh dear.
Oh, buddy.